What happened to the good old days of a microphone about this size and having to put it right out?
Times change.
That was bigger than the apple.
Yes, yes, yes.
Good morning. I'd like to thank everybody for being here. My name is Roger Glorious. I'm the city administrator for Tomah. We called this press conference to let everyone know what we are taking in light of the current crisis in the country of COVID-19. I've asked all department heads to be here that are relevant. We're going to cover some points in this press conference of what the city's doing, but if we do miss any, they are available for questions after the conference. Mayor Murray is here with me as well. And I'd just like to read a brief statement of what we are doing. Last evening we met extensively with the City Council. We discussed quite a bit of things in closed session, brought it back out in the open session, and determined what would be the best course of action for us to go with. So at this time we are announcing to everyone that we are effectively closing all city offices and all city departments to the public to prevent exposure. So City Hall offices will be closed to the public to limit exposure to COVID-19 at this time. And any numbers that I reference on this can be found on our website at tomaonline.com as well. So we'd ask you to please call 374-7423 or 374-7426 to schedule an appointment for absentee voting or voter registration. We will not be accepting in-person cash or check payments without further notice. Office hours on March 18th will be from 2:30 to 4 p.m. to allow access for municipal court. If you do not need to appear, you may make your court payments in the drop box outside the front door, online or at our website at www.tomaonline.com. The GovPay link is under the court tab. Our pay code for court is 5008. Tax payments may be dropped off in the drop box, as stated, located next to the front doors on Superior Avenue, mailed into 819 Superior Avenue, Tomah, or made online, again, at www.tomaonline.com on the homepage. No in-person payments are accepted at this time. Ambulance payments may be dropped off in the drop box located next to the front doors on Superior Avenue, mailed to 819 Superior Avenue, Tomah, or made online at the aforementioned website. On the homepage, no in-person payments are accepted at this time. We have suspended all park shelter rentals at this time for rentals through May 2019. All recreation activities have been canceled until further notice. Spring program registrations will be postponed until further notice. Absentee voting and voting registration will be by appointment only. Please call 374-7426 to schedule a time, and we will accommodate after speaking on the phone. Online absentee ballot requests can be made at myvote.wi.gov, all lowercase, if you are currently a registered voter and have not moved or changed your name. If you need to register after March 18th, you must do so in the clerk's office or at the polls on election day. Proof of residency is required for registration. Bartender applications and liquor licensing paperwork can be dropped off at the drop box located at the front entrance. Inspections will be postponed until further notice of the facilities for renewal purposes. Other licensing, such as transient merchant, taxi cab drivers and taxi cabs, farmers market, building inspection permits, are available online and can be dropped off in the drop box with payment or mailed if you may reach our departments by phone and an appointment may be scheduled if necessary. Pet licenses are due by March 31st, which may also be mailed in with appropriate documentation, and the licenses will be returned by mail upon processing. Tax payment deadlines are set by state statute, and we are not authorized to extend or alter due dates in accordance with state law. Late payments are accepted through April 7th without penalty. Office staff are continuing to work and are available for questions or concerns by phone and then by appointment as necessary. I would like to stress that if you're looking to come to City Hall, that you call ahead and talk to our staff. We may be able to deal with you over the phone or refer you to something online that would take care of it. The idea of this is to limit the exposure as put down by the state and the federal guidelines. All emergency services are in function and in place in the City of Tomah. Police, fire, ambulance are all manned and all functioning as normal. Public Works is functioning as normal. Water and sewer are not disrupted. I want to remind everybody that it's going to be a tough time. Things are very fluid, they're moving, we're getting changes from the state and from the federal side daily, if not hourly. We will continue to monitor the situation, keep the City Council and the Mayor apprised, and act accordingly. I think if we all stay calm, we do what we're supposed to do, we'll get through this just fine. And we at the city are committed to help you do that. Now, if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to take them, or as I indicated, I have my department heads here and they would take questions as well.
How long do you foresee this guidelines sticking in place? Is it just kind of monitoring the situation and seeing?
We are going to follow what the state and what the federal guidelines give us. We don't know how long this will run. We've been told anything from 4 months to 6 months to 8 months. It's unprecedented. I'm 58 years old. I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime. So, and I was in Europe when they had mad cow disease and they didn't even implement this. So we're playing on a new field and we don't really know how it's going to play out. But we are going to continue these precautions until such time as we are told that they are no longer necessary.
If I could, Roger.
Yes, sir.
My name is Mike Murray. I happen to be the mayor of the city of Tomah, and I think I echo the sentiments of not only the city administrator, but the council as we met last night. We just want to stress that, you know, so many of the things that City Administrator Gorius just read off, things are going to continue the way they are. It's just a difference in habit in how we do these things. It's just a different methodology in which we accomplish the things we've accomplished for so many days, months, and years. The biggest thing for all of us as a community is to just change our habits. We simply have to change the habits and the manner in which we do things. The sooner we do this, the sooner everything can come under control. I think you're absolutely right, Roger, that things are changing by the minute. You know, we're addressing how many different emails are coming out from the state, the federal, you know, to stay positive. I saw reports this morning where they're very comfortable or very confident in some things that are being tested out on the West Coast right now as regards any kind of help with this when it comes to vaccines. So again, by the day, the minute, the hour, whatever, things are changing. But the one thing that won't change is the fact that the city of Tomah is going to continue operating just in a different manner than perhaps what we're used to, and we'll just have to adjust to it. And we thank you for your patience with that.
Just one other thing I'd like to add. We've been asked and we've been told that social distancing is the new norm. 6 feet apart, no groups of people larger than 10 or 12, and that's what we need to do on a long-term basis. But there are members of our community, elderly, sick. Be a neighbor. Help your citizens. If you can do it without exposing yourself or putting yourself to risk, be that good neighbor and help those people out. We need this more than anything. We're a great community. If we pull together, we'll be just fine.
I have a question for Chief Nicholson.
Just a minute, Mark.
I read police reports, and I know that officers sometimes wind up getting within 6 feet of the suspect. Have you given any guidance to your officers in the field, you know, how to stay safe during a potential outbreak?
Yeah, Chief Mark Nicholson, Tomah Police Department, we are practicing the same social distancing issues and what everybody else is doing. Obviously, those in public safety do have to at times take people into custody, but we are limiting our access, we are limiting our functions to only essential items at this time. There's going to be several things that you may see us doing differently, or activities that we have done in the past that we won't be doing in the near future, as it relates to presentations to the community, being out and about as much as you can. I pride the department to say that we've been proactive. At this point, we are reactive. We are stressing to the citizens that if they have a complaint that's not an emergency, please call our non-emergency number, which is 374-7400, and we'll instruct you what to do at that point. We have forms online if we need to take a report from you that we don't have to have contact with. We can do that all via email, electronic means, or you can get them from there, or we'll make arrangements to get them to them. But again, we're trying to limit our exposure, limit our re-exposure as much as possible. We're continuing and will provide public safety to the entire community. As it's been said, it's just going to be done in a different fashion.
Okay, and out and about, I know this is still fairly early, but have you noticed have your officers noticed a drop in traffic flow?
I think anybody can look out on the street at this time and notice a drop in traffic flow. I mean, here we are on a 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's normally fairly busy on Superior Avenue, and you can already see that things are slowing down. So we're happy to see that. We're happy to see that people are following the guidelines that they should be following. And if you don't need to be out, if it's not essential for you to be out, we should be sheltering in place. We should be locked down.
I think one of the things I'd like to add with that, and it, you know, when we're addressing our police force, and it doesn't really matter what department in the city of Tomah is being affected. Harkening back to the days when I taught driver's ed, the very first session we ever taught, and the very first sentence was the fact that risk will always be present. In teaching somebody how to drive, the one thing we have to emphasize is that risk will always be there, regardless of anything that you do. And in this situation, risk is present. But then we also taught them the fact that you have a level of control over risk. And that's what we as people need to recognize, from every department head to every citizen of the community of Tomah. Risk is going to be present, that it's unavoidable. Risk is there, but you have the control over how much risk you expose yourself to. And that's where I commend, you know, everybody in our department heads. Last night in our meeting, they all came with very practical approaches on how to limit the risk to themselves, their departments, and their employees, so that the city can continue to function and not have any more of a hiccup than is absolutely necessary.
We do have, in addition just to supply information, as Roger just had mentioned to me, we do have our Facebook site, the police department Facebook site. We're going to continue maintaining that, putting as much information out there as possible. Although I think at this point, as it relates to this COVID virus, there's an enormous amount of information out there. But as it relates to local things within the city, we're going to be using that as much as possible to update the community on current activities or things in the city that are changing literally as we speak.
I guess I have a couple questions for Roger. How will access to public records and public documents be impacted during the shutdown?
We won't be denying any of that. We'll still supply it. You'll have to contact our offices by either phone or email and make a scheduled appointment in order to get those documents from us. You can do that by contacting the clerk's office or just the general offices and principal by either email or phone.
And what was the reason for going into closed session last night? Why wasn't the first 75 minutes of last night's meeting an open session?
We had things that we wanted to discuss with the council that hadn't been previously discussed. This is an ongoing situation, it's new to everyone. I wasn't completely sure what reactions would be or what questions would be. So we put it in closed session. Today we're standing in front of a microphone and cameras and giving you the exact information that we talked about last night. I'm also offering up our Public Works Department, our fire, our ambulance, all our department heads are here to answer questions. None of this is meant to be clandestine, it's just simply dealing with a situation we've never dealt with before in the most responsible and proactive way that we can.
Okay, and another question, city employees, how secure are their jobs?
At this time, we have no intent to put anybody off the payroll for any reason. We have several ways in place. They have their sick leave they can take if they feel they need to do that. They have vacation they can take if they need to do that. We're also talking to the council about different means of compensation. One of the big things I can tell you that came out of last night was a very determined council that they do not want this to financially impact their employees. We value them too much and we do not need to have them worried about COVID-19 and how are they going to take care of their kids and pay their rent and their house mortgages. That's not our intent at all.
Okay, and can you discuss the potential cash flow as it relates to city finances?
Well, some of that will tie into what the federals do, you know, as far as what bonding and loan systems we do on that. As I stated in the statement, we have no control over tax payments, so you're going to have to pay your taxes, and that's a secure source. Public Works is designed to be able to take water and sewer payments either via the box out front, or they have direct deposit payment. They can take it directly out of your, as they do mine, they can take it directly out of your account. So we see those revenue streams. Obviously, there will be a few things. Parks and Rec is going to have to cancel some activities that would have brought some revenue into them through rental of buildings. These we feel are fairly minor and can be survived rather easily. We're going to do what we can. We have a budget in place as of last October. We will continue to follow that budget. It is, there are areas in that we can work around. We won't tell you that it's inviolable. We have, for example, if we have a new truck that we think we're going to buy and we need to divert that money into something else that's more important for public safety, we will do that. Any further questions?
Just one more quick, Roger, if you heard anything from your peers across the state as far as what, right now we got all the shutdowns, but I guess is there any way to speculate on what might be the next step? People having to wear masks, is anybody, I guess even Mike, with any other mayoral folks around the state or the region, you hear anything as far as what projected, what could be the next step, and other than just having everything shut down as far as, again, facial protection, things like that?
I've talked to a few of my peers in the WCMA, and I followed the Wisconsin County Managers Association link quite closely. They're doing what they can for their cities, and they're following the guidelines that are coming down again from the state and from the federal. Those decisions will be made way above my pay grade and the city pay grade. If they decide to do something nationwide, obviously we'll follow whatever mandates come down. We're looking to mitigate as much of this as possible on a local level with what we can do, and then we will take our orders like good soldiers from the people of us.
And I think to add to that is the fact that, again, I can't emphasize enough the level of practicality that has to come into this. In my business, we sat and watched Monday as our president and his advisors commented on the fact that people should stop visiting restaurants and bars. So practically, our thought had to be the fact of what is our next step? If we as citizens, I mean, a city can give you directive, but our directive, as Roger said, it's going to come down. So if we really want to find out the direction of where our local area is going to go, the national information is going to make its way down. And we have to entrust that I can do all of the internet searching I want to do on this COVID-19, But these are experts. That's the reason they're in the positions they're in. These decisions that they're making that are going to affect our economy, the functionality of our nation, are not being made lightly, nor I don't believe they're throwing darts at a dartboard. So when they're making these decisions, they are, I'm sure, taking into full consideration the residual effect that is going to resonate throughout our nation. So again, we will give you how we're doing things on a local level. If you are wanting to get an idea of how you should behave as a citizen or what might be forthcoming as a citizen, pay attention to our president, to his advisors, and to the CDC. They will give the directive that I'm sure we're going to eventually hear and see anyway.
And we will. And just to give you an idea of how this moves, Monday morning we were in a meeting, we had talks, we came out of that meeting. By the time we got out of that meeting, a few hours later, the numbers had dropped from 50 to 12 to me. The bars were still open, still running as of Monday night. Tuesday, we wake up, it's a different world, it's closed. This, as Chief Nicholson referred to, this thing is literally changing as we speak. And we are not going to be reactionary, we're going to be responsive. We're going to work with everyone we can, we're going to work with those people that are above us and those people that are with us in this time of need, and we're going to keep our city going, and we're going to be what we are. We're fortunate. We're in the Midwest, we're Wisconsinites, been around the world a bit when I was in the Navy. We've got a lot of common sense here, and we'll get through this just fine.
I'd like to take the opportunity to throw out for what we're gonna do, one bigger change. Kirk Area City of Tomah Public Works Director. Starting Monday, we're going to do a little bit of change with the garbage pickup. It's intended to limit the exposure for our employees. Right now, we physically pick those bags up and put them into the garbage truck. What we're going to do is provide an alternative site similar to what you see in townships. We'll have a garbage truck at the city shop, and that will be the collection for recyclables, okay? Only recyclables. We have automated recycling now. Automated recycling will be turned into automated garbage, okay? So starting Monday, we'll want you to put your garbage in your automated recycling tote. We will come along and pick it up with a truck that limits our employees from handling this garbage. I think, we want to stress we do want to promote recycling, but right now it's more important to watch out for the safety of our employees, and we will be providing that service through that means that I just discussed. I believe the address is 515 East Manawa, is where the recycling would be transported by the homeowner to that site.
Kirk, do you want to mention this Thursday's garbage roll?
Yes, so we understand that there's people out there that already have their bins possibly full. That we would have a recycling next Thursday is our biggest route. So what we would like to do is, even if we get the word out to 20–30% of the people, if you have we want to add an additional recycling pickup this Thursday. So if you were scheduled to receive your recycling, I'm not sure of the date of the following Thursday, it'd be the 27th? 26th. So if you were scheduled to have recycling on the 26th, we want you to put it out tomorrow, if possible. We understand that it's short notice, but we will work with people on that situation.
What's the Manawa Street address again, Kurt?
I believe it's 515 East Manawa. It's the city shops. It'll be the big white truck sitting out there.
What happened to the orange one?
Yeah.
Never mind.
Will be single stream recycling, you just bring whatever bin you have and then dump it all in?
Yes, and it is that way now.
Okay.
It's commingled now. Thank you.
I've got one other thing to add. I believe it was discussed or somebody had mentioned masks. As we're all aware, the supply chain to get equipment right now is very limited, especially in the area of PPEs, personal protective equipment. Just recently, there's been information put out in the national media that if you have any masks or PPEs available, to please turn them into the hospital. And I'm asking at this point if we have anybody local, any businesses that have extra masks, if it's part of your business and you see that your business isn't going to be as active in the near future, or if you simply have an excess supply, our access to these masks and PPEs are very limited also. We would be greatly appreciated if you could either donate them to the police department, sell them to the police department, or we will make arrangements after the supply chain opens back up. But if you could, whether it's 5 masks, 10 masks, 20, a box, whatever you may have that your business could get to us, it would be very appreciated.
Mark, real quick, just, I guess something just popped in my head, and I don't know, maybe you think, if you're comfortable with this, but I was just talking to somebody in some of the other towns, just worried about just the public psyche. I don't know if you want to address the public as far as crime intent, people getting desperate times, people doing desperate things. I guess if you want to put something out to the public as far as just not going.
We're entering into some areas, Bob, that we've never been in before. And I think everybody has that in the back of their mind. We're asking everybody to keep an even mind, relax. We will get through this. Things will return to normal. Everybody is trying to do as much as they can to supply that relief, both during this incident and after the fact. So, yes, is it a concern of everybody in mine? I think you can answer that and say yes, but we'll make it through this.
Hi, Irma Keller from the Tomah Library. I just want to let everybody know that if you have items from the library, they will not be due until we reopen. We won't have any fines on any items, so you may keep those until we reopen. We have many, many online resources that will be available for people. I would ask you to check our website, the tomahpubliclibrary.org. We will be maintaining that website and trying to bring as many resources, free resources as we can to you. Thank you.
Hey, Irma, I have a question.
Sure.
You're offering help on the census with the online component of it. What kind of response did you get to that, and are you concerned that there were still some people that needed help that aren't getting it, won't be able to get it now?
We will have the Wi-Fi access, so people would actually be able to come to the library and park outside and use the Wi-Fi. So that's going to be available. We are closed right now, so as far as having someone available to help someone with the census, we're not going to be able to provide that service, and that's unfortunate. If we think of a way that that can change, we will certainly bring it to the public's attention.
Just to touch on that. This morning we opened up the top of the senior center for a group of individuals that are training for the census. So this is still going on, and they're still training workers. My talks with them, they don't intend this to affect the census in any way. And that's important that you fill out your forms, that you do your census, you send them in. This is a funding source that's important to the city, important to the county, on many levels. So it needs to continue on. As the chief said, we're gonna get through this. Things are gonna go back to normal. When they do, we need them to come back as close to normal as they were before. And that census is very important. I mean, this is a 10-year shot, and it's what we get counted on, and it's what we rely on a great deal for funding. So keep that in mind, and they are not backing off. The difference in this census too is that it's a digital census. They're doing a lot of this online. It's not so much the in-person contact, so it's a lot easier to get the data and not have the exposure. So as far as the census, from what I'm told, it's on track and it's doing exactly what it's intended to do.
phone too. You can do it on the phone too.
And you can do it over the phone, as the clerk mentions.
And, you know, some of the things we talked about last night too, again, I want to reiterate, any numbers you're hearing from the federal government, from anybody, they are purely conjecture. These are estimates as to what might happen. But again, daily, we're having things change. We don't know in a week, you know, there's scientists working around the clock trying to put things together. You know, we don't know. In a week, they may come out and say, hey, boom, we flipped the light switch and we have a vaccine, and, you know, we don't know. It's a matter of dealing with everything on a day-to-day basis. We live in Wisconsin. If there was, you know, a projected blizzard that was going to last 3 to 4 days with 24 inches of snow to fall, we would make the adjustments that are needed to be made to exist in the environment we're in, and we can't stress that enough. No reason to overreact, just take what is being given and live day to day and trust that, you know, we have some of the best department heads that are making the decisions that are best, again, not only for their employees, but for the city, so that the city can remain functional and we don't get into dire circumstances.
And I think that's important to remember, is that the country's working diligently on this. And we've seen a lot of worse things in the world. I mean, we've fought world wars, we've come together, we've taken care of that. When this nation comes together and puts its intelligence, its strength, and its financial backing behind something, that's a pretty formidable weapon.
We rationed in the 40s.
So I think we can just look to do what we can on our basis in our area. Follow the guidelines that are set down again by the state and the federal. We will go ahead and do those, and just remember, it is a very fluid situation, and what I'm telling you now could change in an hour. And if we have to, we have talked to the council, the department heads, the administration have the latitude to make those changes and inform them as we do it. Is there anything else anybody would like to add? Then I would thank you very much for your time and your attention in this matter.
Thank you,
Right, so just been watching the press conference down here at City Hall on Wednesday morning, March 18th. A lot of department heads, City Administrator Roger Gorius, Tomah Mike Murray, Emma from the library, among others, Kirk Arity from Public Works, Mark Nicholson, the Tomah Police Chief, talking about changes that will be coming up effective as of today, Wednesday the 18th of March. The main thing, I guess, that did come out of it, City Hall will be closed, but there are other options to get to City Hall if you need to, and that was all explained in this press conference. So you've been looking at the press conference Wednesday morning, March 18th, down here at City Hall in Tomah. We hope you enjoyed it.
Okay, yeah. Either that or